listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is Friday, which means it is time for a Set Apart to Serve conversation. We get to visit with another Concordia University. I'm excited about this today as we continue our Set Apart to Serve conversations, learning about church work programs at our Concordia universities. Today's episode of The Coffee Hour is underwritten in part by Concordia University, Nebraska. You can learn more about Concordia University, Nebraska by visiting cuwe.edu. Joining us today, Dr. Erik Ankerberg. He is president of Concordia University, Wisconsin and Ann Arbor. Dr. Ankerberg, welcome back to the Coffee Hour.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having us.
I always enjoy our chats. It's nice when we get to chat, and it's been a minute since we've had some time to talk, and looking forward to learning more about church work programs at Concordia University, Wisconsin and Ann Arbor. Also joining us today, Jeff Frosch. He is LCMS Admission Counselor for recruitment at Concordia University, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor. Jeff, welcome to the Coffee Hour.
Andy, it's good to see you again. Thanks for having us.
You bet. It's good to have the time to learn about what's going on in church work programs at the Concordia University, Wisconsin and Ann Arbor campuses. I'd love to learn a little bit about each of you. And I know, Dr. Ankerberg, we got to introduce you probably a couple of years ago, introduce you to our listeners. But let's refresh everyone's memory. How long have you been at Concordia University, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor?
I'm in my third year here. Best job I've ever had.
What do you love about what you get to do every day?
Well, I work with great people. I mean, our team is fantastic and our students are amazing. The best part of my day is sneaking out of the office, getting away from spreadsheets or other parts of the more administrative tasks, going to lunch, just finding ways to just be with our students and seeing what's going well for them here.
Jeff, how about you? How long have you been at Concordia University, and what do you love about what you get to do? That's probably a long question. Let's start with how long you've been there.
Sure, Andy. I've been at CUWAA for, doing the quick math, this is 22 years.
That's impressive. Tell us more about what you love to get to do.
I get to watch people become who God has called them to be. So I've had the joy over the years of meeting people when they were in grade school, maybe confirmation age, and then checking in again with them when they're in later high school and applying to college. And then some of them I've been able to see become moms and dads and teachers and pastors and other church workers. It's really joyful.
Tell us more about what you get to do as an LCMS admissions counselor. What does that look like for you?
I spend a lot of time in Lutheran high schools and more so now Lutheran grade schools, talking to alumni and administrators and teachers, and mostly with young people, about how we do higher education at Concordia University, Wisconsin and Ann Arbor. So we talk a lot about what is the definition of Concordia and what is our Christian vocation, and how do we determine that and find that out and further pursue that in college.
So let's talk about church work programs at Concordia University, Wisconsin, Ann Arbor. Dr. Ankerberg, tell us about what's available for students.
Sure. Well, this is in our DNA, going all the way back to 1881 and the basement of Trinity Lutheran Church in downtown Milwaukee, where the first students gathered for Concordia. Through today, our church work programs are the essential, defining, constant blessing of this university, and it's some of the greatest work that our Lord accomplishes here. And while some of that work has evolved over time and looks different certainly today than it did in 1881, it's not just foundational, but it's also this living, dynamic, changing piece. We certainly have an outstanding pre-seminary program as well as Lutheran education program, but then you add in programs like church music, or we look at the possibilities for living out Director of Church Ministry program. It's exciting to see that students have tremendous opportunities to use varied gifts to serve the Lord in different capacities throughout the church, whether that is in elementary schools or in a parish or serving alongside a pastor, doing administrative work or helping to lead the church's song. There are an amazing number of opportunities for our students to serve faithfully and well in our church.
Let's talk about each of those programs and what students, how they prepare for these various roles. We talked about some of the programs that are available. Jeff, tell us a little bit about what each of those programs look like, and let's dig into them, unpack them a little bit more.
Sure. The one that I talk to a lot of students about is our pre-seminary program, or a theological languages program. And so they have questions about how hard is it and how long does it take and what seminary may look like at St. Louis or Fort Wayne after the undergraduate years. They want to know about Greek and Hebrew and doctrine and confessions and worship. So we talk a little bit about those things and the joys and privileges therein. Other people want to know about teachers and what kind of a teacher can I become? Or can I become a classically educated teacher or a special education teacher or a music teacher? And what are the certifications that are involved there? We also have a very interesting program known as the Director of Church Ministries program, which is able to be done either on site in person or online. And so I get a number of calls from folks that are serving in congregations nationwide that maybe want to look at an online option and want to know how Concordia can help them with that pursuit.
Now, what's coming up in the future? What's exciting for the future of CUWAA with opportunities for church work programs, exploring maybe what's possible on the campuses? Dr. Ankerberg?
Yeah, I think I'd start with we've always had historically a strong relationship with the church, but I think we're living in a particularly helpful moment where there's real transparency and connectedness or an intersection among the Concordias, among the different parts of Synod with how do we recruit and retain church workers. And it's an essential conversation for us, but I think that intentionality and that focus, in my lifetime, it's probably never been stronger. So I think that's an important thing for us to celebrate and to really pursue with every resource we have. I think the other thing is we're thinking of different strategies of how to engage families and churches and the different parts of the church around this recruitment of church workers. So that partnership with Set Apart to Serve matters, but it's also going to families and to young people much earlier than we ever did. And the tap on my shoulder to go into church work was probably when I was a junior in high school at Milwaukee Lutheran. And a Lutheran teacher saying to me, "Hey, have you ever thought about?" Great. Praise God. Grateful that happened. At the same time, we really need to think about how are we talking to confirmation age students now and their families and asking them to think about the vocation of church work at simply a much younger age and to think about the arc of not just a career, but a life that's engaging the church differently and to plan differently than perhaps we've invited families in the past. So I think the other thing that's so important is that these positions in the church are evolving as well. I think there's significant conversations about, and need to be significant conversations around how Lutheran education looks different today than it did 30 years ago. There are different variations of how someone can serve in Lutheran schools, whether that's classical ed versus a traditional, or what we might think of as historically a kind of traditional Lutheran school. Certainly the specialization needs at a Lutheran high school are different today than they were 30 years ago. So we're inviting people to think more professionally and more deeply around their vocation and their career while not losing our focus on the Christ-centered opportunities to emphasize the importance of that intersection of faith and learning in those schools. Jeff, what am I missing?
I'll just build upon what I think I heard you say, Dr. Ankerberg, about this wonderful matter of collaboration between our synodical sisters and brothers. Back in the mid-90s, when this work started for me, there was sort of a good-natured and maybe sometimes not so good a natured competition between the colleges and universities of our system, of our synod. And now there really is an esprit de corps, a great sort of combined shoulder to shoulder, rolling our sleeves up mentality towards recruiting church work students, understanding that in the end, as long as the student is going to serve the Lord of the church and serve his people, that's the really, really important piece of the ministry that we get to do. And so there's so many wonderful people at all the Concordias that we've been, privileged to work with. And yeah, also just a nod, if I could, to Set Apart to Serve. In Dr. Bonnick and Mr. Rollins and Mr. Manor and others, they have really sort of helped me establish a framework around the work that I do, and also provided a piece of accountability in my work, in that they're in touch with me fairly consistently with probing questions and inquiries, and just always helping me to ask myself, am I doing my best work in the most efficient, effective way for Concordia?
Jeff, earlier you mentioned that you're visiting not only high schools, but also Lutheran K-8 schools. What does a visit like that look like today? What do you get to do with students when you visit them, and talking about church work programs and Concordia University?
That is a relatively new kind of a concept. Historically, we admission counselors have shown up at high schools and talked to seniors and juniors and maybe some sophomores if we were real fortunate. I have this sense, and it's born of conversation and also experience, that young people seem to be really impressionable, maybe most impressionable about their calling and their vocation in the confirmation years, when they're seeing their pastors at least twice a week. And they're talking about matters of what is God equipping me and calling me to do. So I'll be able to go into a school and they will set me up with their theology classes. And I'll work sometimes in tandem with the teacher. Sometimes the teacher will turn the classroom over to me, and we'll unpack Holy Scripture, and we'll work in groups, and we'll ask questions, and we'll give answers, thoughtful answers, and then we'll add in the teacher's background experience with how she or he came to her or his calling. And it's amazing to me how many times I ask the students, have you ever heard this story from your teacher before? And they'll say, not really. So it's an opportunity for the students to know the teacher, as well as think about their own calling in relationship to the relationship between the teachers and the students and the students and the students.
We'll talk more about church worker formation at Concordia University Wisconsin, Ann Arbor in just a moment, right after we take a quick break. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
At Concordia University, Nebraska, discover a distinctly Christian community that equips students to live by faith with courage, character, and conviction. Intentionally combining our Christian faith, Lutheran heritage, rigorous academics, and practical real-life experiences, we prepare students to fulfill a higher purpose in their vocations and life. Learn more about Concordia University, Nebraska at our website, cuwe.edu. That's cuwe.edu.
Welcome back to The Coffee Hour. I'm Sarah Gulseth.
I'm Andy Bates.
We're talking with Dr. Erik Ankerberg and Jeff Frosch with Concordia University Wisconsin and Ann Arbor, talking about all of the church work formation programs available at Concordia University Wisconsin Ann Arbor. And Dr. Ankerberg, let's talk briefly about Concordia Ann Arbor. Let's talk about what the future might hold for that university campus.
Sure. You asked before about what's exciting, and in our conversations with the Concordia University system and the church broadly, the Michigan district, our desire is to reintroduce church work programs back to that campus. To step back for a second, we've really made 4 promises to the Michigan district and to the church and to our university. One was that we will be in Michigan serving faithfully. Secondly, we're going to do missionally really important work. Third, we're going to do academically significant work, our best work. And then finally, we need to do it in a financially sustainable way. So we're at that place right now of trying to establish the healthcare programs as a financial foundation for the future of that campus. And then looking forward in the next 2 to 3 years to reintroduce church work programs as best we can. So that conversation is living and active and an important part of our university's future. And in the meanwhile, the university is not flagging at all in terms of its commitment to church work. What we are continuing to do, in some cases online, as well as at our Wisconsin campus, it involves our strongest commitments to continuing that work.
What is unique about Concordia University Wisconsin and Arbor, especially when it comes to church work programs?
Well, how about if I start, Jeff, and you can fill in the things I miss. There's a lot. I would certainly say the quality of our students is amazing. I am heartened and hopeful for the future of the church when I talk to our church work students. They come here eager, excited. They're looking forward and just so conscious of the importance of the vocation, as well as just hungry to learn and to become servants in the church. And that heart for ministry and work is amazing. Secondly, we are striving, as I think all the universities are, to remain affordable, an affordable option for families. And that's something that we focus on significantly. And I think families find that there is that just strong commitment to that as a university. And third, and I think students will have different experiences at the different universities. I'll speak for my focus as a president. It is this intense desire to have the highest quality academic experience possible. We went to Australia to chase a theology professor, and that was an amazing, wicked smart choice on the part of the university. And that's the kind of, we will turn over every stone to find the right people to be here to do the best work. To bring a campus pastor who is a former student of mine here, who's just been a joy and a real blessing to the university. We bring such intentionality to really bringing the best, most dedicated people we can find to build a loving community here of the highest quality to serve our students and the church very well.
Jeff, what do you got to add to that?
Yeah, some of the obvious answers involve world-class faculty and a gorgeous, uniquely geographically set campus and Christ-centered community. For me, it goes back to our distinctive mission, vision, and values. So what does it mean to be a Lutheran higher education community committed to helping students develop in mind, body, and spirit for service to Christ and the church in the world? And so when we talk about being a Christ-centered university, a university where we pursue truth and integrity and service to others in the church and in the world, what does it mean to be really excellent? And how do we unpack all those concepts? That's, to me, what makes Concordia distinctively Concordia. And the great challenge and the great opportunity is to be able to unpack that and talk about that in a cogent way with high school students and grade school students, moms and dads, grandpas and grandmas, brothers and sisters.
Tell us a little bit more about the Director of Church Ministries program. I know that one of my fellow deaconess cohort members is a graduate of that program from CUW, and she speaks very, very highly of it. Tell us more about that program. I think that's a very unique part of CUW.
Sure. Eric, you want to grab that one?
I'll start, and if you can supplement, I would start with the great work Dr. Taylor brings to leading that program. He's an amazing member of our excellent faculty. I'm just grateful for how he works with our students and just guides them and mentors them in really effective ways to think about serving the church well. I think the second piece is it's a very flexible kind of program. It allows for a variety of ways to serve in congregational settings in terms of meeting administrative needs, as well as other aspects of ministry that maybe don't have all the attention that we sometimes need to pay to those efforts inside of a congregation. And third thing is it's a program that has as much strength online as it does in person. And I think that's another piece of it. It really is accessible to a wider range of students because of that online program. Jeff, what am I missing there?
I think that was really comprehensive. I would just add to that. My experience is that people love the flexibility of the program and the opportunity to study 3,000 miles away or 3 miles away. A theology major with a double minor, one of the students choosing. And Erik, help me out here. I think the second minor involves nonprofit management.
It does, yeah.
And so there's kind of a unique aspect to that, because if there's another thing that I've kind of heard over the years is that we wish we had some experience in management or marketing or business or something to kind of supplement the ministry side of our we
It really adds those practical skills that sometimes get lost. We get so focused on ministry and people, as we should, that that's our primary focus. And the ability to run an organization well requires a skill set and some experiences that this program provides, and that really complements the ministerial focus of the work.
Jeff, what's the first step for a student considering church work and studying church work at Concordia University Wisconsin in Arbor? What's the first step you'd encourage them to take?
I think it's dependent upon the student and the scenario. I always encourage students, if they're thinking about church work especially, reach out to their pastor, reach out to their teacher, and just express that interest and get that affirmation from that lady or that gentleman to say, yeah, you've got the stuff, and here's what I see in you that would make you a great teacher or a great pastor, great church worker. And from a practical standpoint, visit cuw.edu to inquire about more information in terms of academics, in terms of scheduling a visit to campus. That's a very important piece of the puzzle, is to come visit campus where you're able to, and also to be connected with an admission person and or a faculty member in your area of interest.
What does a campus visit look like? If I were a prospective student and I wanted to visit campus on the lake, what would I experience on that campus visit?
It's always sunny and 70 degrees. And
Up today, right, Erik?
No.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here on campus today.
Like today. Yeah. So Sarah, to your point, there's really kind of a variety of visit opportunities. And what I mean by that is we have what I like to call the big picture kind of corporate visit days, where there's a set schedule for about 6 hours. And we bring in lots of families to do a prescribed schedule for the day. And then more popular, I think, are the individualized visits. So some students just want to come in and start as maybe a freshman or sophomore and get a campus tour and maybe talk to an admission counselor. When you're in your junior year or even your senior year, you may want to talk to 3 faculty members and do 2 class shadow visits and have lunch and see the res halls. You may want to do an overnight experience. Last thing I'll say is that we've started something new that I absolutely love. Every year we do a vocations visit experience. So that's for people that really feel a specific intentional calling into some area of their lives where they're especially gifted and really want to serve the Lord. And
anything else you want us to know about church work programs at Concordia University Wisconsin as we wrap up our time together today, Dr. Ankerberg?
Well, I hope the church hears how important it is on both of our campuses that we focus on this work. It's critical to our definition and our history and our life together and our commitments to the church. And come visit us. Come experience chapel, experience the classroom, experience the community of life on this campus. It's the best way to see how the Lord blesses our work is to be able to sit down one-on-one with the great people who are here.
Our guest today, Dr. Erik Ankerberg, President, Concordia University Wisconsin and Ann Arbor. Thank you, Dr. Ankerberg, for being our guest today.
Thank you for having us.
And Jeff Frosch, LCMS Admission Counselor for Concordia University Wisconsin, Ann Arbor. Jeff, thanks for being our guest.
Andy, thanks. Sarah, thank you.
You can learn more about Set Apart to Serve by visiting lcms.org/SAS. You've been listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.